Am I the asshole for insisting we buy my family's house instead of starting from scratch? My partner and I are planning to buy a home in the next year or so. My family owns a house that I could buy significantly below market value, approximately $100K less, with solar panels, new heating systems, and no urgent renovation needs. It's spacious, has a garden, and would require minimal monthly expenses compared to most other options. She, however, is emotionally opposed to the idea, not because of the house itself, but because it belongs to my family. We all have very good and healthy relationships. She says it wouldn't feel like her home, that she'd feel like she's living in someone else's life, and that even a full renovation wouldn't solve that. She wants to start from zero. Ideally buying an apartment, likely smaller, more expensive over time, no garden, older infrastructure, with no history tied to either of us. I've tried offering compromise, full freedom to renovate, symbolic detachment from my family, they'd have no say in anything, etc. Still, she says it would feel like giving up her sense of independence. She'd rather rent or spend more on a less optimal place just to have something that feels ours from day one. I understand emotional attachment matters, but it feels like I'm being asked to ignore a rare and stable opportunity because of a symbolic rejection of anything tied to my past. I'm not trying to force her, just hoping she'd meet me halfway. But all signs point to this being a deal-breaker for her. Has anyone dealt with something similar? Is this an irreconcilable values difference, or is there a way to make this work? Edit. Wow, thanks everyone for chiming in, lots to think about. I understand I left some important details too. We're not married, but we're headed that way, but not yet proposed. We've been together for 8 years, no other issues in the relationship, she's the person I'll be spending my life with. Edit number 2. I understand I left out important information, of course it wasn't intentional. I also understood I'm the one being pushy about it, so I'll take a step back and start seriously considering other options, given also the possible downsides of purchasing a family home. The thing is that she doesn't believe that your family won't be involved for whatever reason. That is the issue you must address, and you haven't addressed in a convincing fashion. My assumption would be that your family is very involved, maybe even too involved in your life, and she doesn't want them any more involved. Are you one of those people who lives down the road from your family and spends at least 1 day a week with them every single week? 'Cause that's what I'm picturing. I think you've left out vital info that you and your partner are not married, but probably will be, in future, as well as the fact that you can't afford it without her. You have made it sound like this is the wisest, most financially responsible option, a rare and stable opportunity, but it isn't even possible for you on your own. You don't get to dictate what is most financially responsible for someone else to do with their money. If you can't afford it on your own and she doesn't want it, it isn't a viable option for you. Especially considering your finances aren't legally tied together. If you want the house, maybe consider asking someone other than your girlfriend for help. If you want to move in together, you'll have to compromise on what that looks like. Nah, my wife moved into a home that I chose and bought long before I met her. She wasn't on the deeds and never really felt like it was her home. Eventually we moved and we picked a house that she felt at home in. Your girlfriend has her feelings and you shouldn't invalidate them by insisting on this. However, is this a forever home or a step on the ladder? With that kind of equity you could move on and up sooner. Could you sell this as temporary? Nah, I wouldn't want that either. It will never feel like her home fully and always be the family home. Unless she's on board, this isn't feasible as a couple. Nah, you both have valid perspectives. Someone who looks at this purely from a financial angle will never see the emotional side. Someone who believes this house will always be more yours than hers will not care how good of an investment it is because they will never feel truly at home. Your family should just sell it at market rate and gift you $100,000 for a down payment on something you both will like. At least in the US there are likely no tax issues unless your family has been gifting millions of dollars. Also, I do see that you're not even married, so honestly this isn't a joint venture regardless, but I'm pretending it is. The problem would be managing the family relationships with the house. Would family members feel they could visit or stay simply because it's the family home, not yours and your wife's home? Would your family feel a sense of ownership even though it's not theirs? Would there be pushback if they don't like your wife's ideas? It's not only about the money. Can your wife actually create a home in this house? You are the asshole. Am I the asshole for not giving up my room for a guest? My sister's partner's brother is staying over for a few days at an apartment we share and pay for equally. He's moving into his own place in less than a week, but until then he's sleeping on our futon downstairs. I'm fine with hosting him, but my sister expects me to give up my room for him to sleep in and for me to either go sleep downstairs or in her room. I don't want to because it's my own space and I need to pack for a trip while he's staying over, which would be a lot harder if I wasn't staying in my room. My sister thinks I'm being rude and inhospitable. Am I the asshole? Edit for context. My sister is also willing to give up her room, but thinks it'll be weird. Also, her partner does not live with us, they are long distance. The brother is staying with us until his lease starts on August 1st. Update. Thanks for all the replies. I talked with my sister and she offered her own room, but he is choosing to stay downstairs. Problem solved. That's your sister and her partner's guest. Tell them to give up their room for him if they're so concerned. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. This is not even your guest. Why isn't your asshole sister giving up her room? Not the asshole. Your sister invited him. She's welcome to give up her own room. Not the asshole. My sister is also willing to give up her room, but thinks it'll be weird. Is she really willing? Sounds like she's coming up with bullshit reasons on why she can't give up her room. Also, why does he even need a room? Sounds like he's fine on the futon and your sister and or partner are the ones dissatisfied. Just keep saying, no, or, asked and answered. Why doesn't your sister sleep on the futon? It is her guest, not yours. He's not your guest, he's the guest of your sister's partner, and possibly your sister. One of those people should be giving up their room, if anybody is. You say your sister wants you to sleep in her room? Is she also there? Because the obvious solution if she's not at the apartment is for the visitor to sleep in your sister's room. If she doesn't want her partner's brother in her room, then why is it okay for them to use your room? Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my wife to stop trying to fix the neighborhood kids? My wife has a huge heart. It goes without saying, she is so caring. Everyone talks about how caring she is. But it's reached a breaking point for me. Neighbor is an elderly lady raising her 2 grandkids and she's struggling. They're 19 and 20, capable of working, but so goddamn lazy they want to sit back and do nothing, and wait for social assistance checks to come in. But they squander the money on drugs, booze and ATV parts instead of trying to help their grandmother. My wife has taken food repeatedly to this family to help. Then, they took advantage of my wife's kindness, borrowed our little rowboat without asking and did some illegal fishing, no life jackets, and made a mess at our dock. We were both furious, but my wife is disappointed in herself for being taken advantage of. I told her to stop trying to help these people, they're just going to keep on walking all over her. I'm not going to let her keep feeding these people if they're just going to keep treating her like shit. Am I the asshole here? I'm fuming. If she wants to help, invite grandma, and only her, for dinner some nights. Ignore the kids, the poor woman probably needs a friend. Not the asshole. Those aren't neighborhood kids, they are 2 young adults capable of finding jobs, and they will continue to take advantage of your wife if you let them. Your elderly neighbor is not raising her grandchildren. She raised her grandchildren, and they are now adults. If your wife wants to help this lady, she should be calling DHS to report that this elderly woman is at risk because the adults in the home are using her benefits on drugs and alcohol while she goes hungry. Not the asshole. Call the cops, they aren't kids. They are adults and stole your boat and trashed your dock. Oh, and your wife needs to grow up and stop it. Suggest that your wife have the grandmother over for dinner from time to time or take her out for a lunch day, hair salon, bingo, church, whatever. Spending time with a senior in this situation would be a great use of your wife's kindness and keeps the kids out of it. Unfortunately, you guys can't really keep the grandma from being taken advantage of by the grandkids, though maybe if your wife built a trusting enough relationship she could be a good influence, but that doesn't mean kindness to the grandma specifically needs to go out the window. There are plenty of ways to keep helping that don't involve the leeching grandkids. Tell her not to bring them food but instead invite the old lady over for dinner regularly. Tell them all that the kids are invited to be nice but say you're all going to play some old person game that the kids will hate to keep them from coming, something like bridge, gin rummy, watching classic TV shows or doing a puzzle etc. that will let you help the old lady while making the kids take control of their own life a bit. Am I the asshole for refusing to change my plans for my sister's wedding anniversary? I'm a university student and I moved to a bigger town 3 years ago. All my family stayed in my small town. Last year I didn't visit them during summer vacations, because I got a part-time job and wanted to raise some money. Same year in August my sister got married. I was not invited and no one even texted me about it until a week later, when mom asked why I didn't congratulate her. Then I explained to her that I got no idea she got married. Few months later I learned that my aunt and sister still think I did it on purpose, because I knew she was pregnant. I learned about her pregnancy from my mother too, because she again asked why I didn't congratulate her, and could have asked when the wedding would be, and because my sister published photos from her wedding on her social media. This year I was denied an internship and decided not to get a part-time job and visit my family, because next summer I will try and apply internship again. My sister said, since I'm here this summer, she would like me to visit her anniversary party, and implied she wants to receive a gift. I said I can't attend, because my plane leaves on August 20th. She suggested I buy another ticket and refund this, because she's inviting me month prior and I was supposed to be considerate of her wedding anniversary when I was buying my tickets. My attempt to explain that I have already another plans past August 20th with my friends and that I bought tickets on such dates for a reason fell on deaf ear. Now she's telling everyone that I bought tickets before her anniversary on purpose just not to attend and not to congratulate her as I did last year with her delivery date and wedding. About all those occasions I learned from my mother weeks after it actually took place. Not the asshole. How are you supposed to attend an event no one tells you about? Now they are spreading lies about you. Ignore them all. Go have fun with your friends. Not the asshole. If someone doesn't invite you to an event, they, and their relatives, shouldn't comment on the fact you don't attend. I had a relative who did exactly that to me. It was such a shame that you didn't attend daughter's wedding. So few people from your side did. I just replied, puzzled but not offended or angry, but I wasn't invited. End of story. You can also have previous plans even if you were invited. You can tell your sister and anyone who repeats her complaints to you that unfortunately, you had previous plans that could not be changed. Don't argue or debate the point, just move on. Not the asshole. I've never in my life been to a one-year anniversary party, let alone one that requires gifts. She didn't invite you to the wedding, which is bloody horrible, so why would you go to the anniversary? I firmly think that wedding anniversaries are between the couple. Even big ones. They are not public celebrations where everyone needs to be in attendance. There is something really classless about asking other people to show up to celebrate your relationship. Who cares? You don't have to celebrate her anniversary, that's supposed to be for the couple. ABC, there's definitely no gift giving. 2 thoughts. I'm guessing your sister is the golden child. Your family sounds exhausting.